we're recording, and Dick, you want to call the meeting
Yes.
to order at 7?
The meeting will come to order at 7 PM. And the meeting is being recorded. If there's anybody else who is recording this, they need to notify myself as chair. Seeing none, hearing none?
I only see Mike and us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And I know-
and can you hear me, Eric?
Yes,
yeah.
Okay, good.
Ken is supposed to be joining us,
Okay.
as is.
It's only
welcome back from Florida.
Oh, actually, that's interesting. That clock says 6:59.
That's what mine says.
9 2.
No,
Uh,
it
Mine is 6:59.
says 7.
Yeah. All right,
Yeah, you're, I'm sure it's 6:59. The computer's wrong, but that's okay.
That's okay, let's go.
right. Okay, and so meeting, as I said, meeting's being recorded. If anybody else is recording the meeting, you must notify the chair, which is myself. And a roll call. Let's see what we got. Norm Cheever,
Here.
Mike Coombs,
Yeah,
good. Malcolm DeBay,
Here,
Mike DeBay,
Here.
Dick Reynolds here, Scotty Graves,
Here.
Deb Harris.
Here.
Eric Muller,
Here.
Paul Murphy,
Here.
Rick Wylot.
Here.
Okay,
We got almost a completely full house.
look at that.
We're missing Ken, but I think Ken was planning on coming.
he was planning on coming. So, and the only one that's remote is
Michael.
Mike C. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so the next thing is the minutes from the May 9th meeting. If everybody wants to, hopefully you've already read. And if anybody has any comments, questions, changes,
That's right, sorry.
corrections,
Hey, Rams, all thought first. I had no comments at all, except the way they're written.
okay. No other comments from anybody?
Nope.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mike D.
Did I miss them?
No,
Okay.
Mike DeBay made a
I
motion,
mean,
I'll second it.
Malcolm D. And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay, I gotta do roll call. Norm Cheever,
aye,
Mike Coombs,
Aye.
Malcolm DeBay,
Aye.
Mike DeBay,
aye,
Dick Reynolds, aye, Scotty Graves.
Aye.
Deb Harris,
Aye.
Eric Muller,
Aye.
Paul Murphy,
Aye.
and Rick, you're not voting, okay. And affirmed. Okay. Next. We have Concom update, Norm.
We have several items, from our last meeting. 116 Berkshire Avenue,
Am I taking notes?
Yeah.
there was an RDA to replace a retaining wall.
Sorry,
I didn't-
RDA?
No, that was last week.
What is RDA?
The last
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Which question?
Just-
Request for determination,
Okay,
it's like an NOI, except it's a less complex
okay.
project.
So like a baby notice of intent.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Last time.
Thank you.
They had a tree fell on the property last fall. And damaged the retaining wall and was leaning towards the lake, and it was a safety problem. So we approved that. You have in your deck that Dick gave was the LPP requested changes from the select board. And the Conservation Commission would like input from LMC on any
And that's an item on tonight.
other changes. They'd welcome those. Then we move to the dock placement on 10 Grandview Street, which is really on White Street,
Yeah,
but, and the owner of the property was there. And he did, we had a site visit before, and we said we want to swing the dock to the south by 6 feet on the outer edge. And he agreed to do that. He's currently got 4 boats on there, and he said they're rentals. So that's one thing that, when we get to that discussion about, LPP, we'll discuss rent.
that looks like the maximum we could put on there, like 4, from what I could see. I didn't look at it.
yeah, it actually doubled in length from when it was a
From the
wood dock.
original,
Yeah.
yeah, from the original dock, yeah.
But it's still under the 75.
Yes.
It's under 75.
But they're rentals.
But there was no paperwork filed.
We're gonna cover that though under its own subject. right?
Yeah, that's coming up.
Yeah, and
You know, there still is verbiage in there about being limited to the minimum size to accomplish
Hmm.
a dock.
We'll talk about that when we get to that one.
It has a history. It had
Right.
a wooden dock there before, and it had a measurement.
All right, we're gonna get to that as a specific item on the agenda.
So then I gave a report on the first two Suffield Concom meetings, and I gave you an update on the first one last time. On the second one, there was an item on the agenda. Remember on Turtle Cove and South Pond, we had an illegal dock, we didn't know who owned it.
Yep.
It was on Crestview property, Crestview sold the property, the new owner wants to combine 3 lots. Wants to cut down a whole bunch of trees. And this was just a preliminary hearing, so there was no votes or anything, but
So this would be the Connecticut Concom, Suffield Concom.
yes.
Yes.
It was Suffield.
He's already cut a lot of trees. It's clear cut it a lot.
Has he?
Oh, yeah.
Already?
Oh, yeah. That wood chipper's been going all week. Went over and
You
took a
didn't
look
get
at it.
approval to do it yet,
you know?
He's
I
not-
went over and
he's
looked
not in
at it. He's got a
Massachusetts.
lot cleared.
huh?
That's Connecticut, isn't it?
Yeah.
But this is a report from Connecticut Concom, Suffield Concom.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I will let.
Duly
Pete
noted.
know that is
Yeah, they
started.
started on Monday. It's been going
Okay.
all week.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I've heard that wood chipper for 3 days over there.
All right,
Wow.
so it's working, guys. It's working. All right. So I will notify Suffield Concom tomorrow. Then we had an issue last time we talked about the Drury Dock and the Four Seasons South Pond Association dock. And we thought we had a nice agreement to satisfy everybody's needs. Four Seasons Pond Association wasn't happy, so they went to the select board. The select board wants to meet on site. It's
Our select board.
our select.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was all.
Well, it was, but then the association said, we now just.
We don't like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and the whole problem is there is no accurate current survey that anybody has. Nobody knows.
And there's words that the Connecticut Mass marker, the big granite marker was moved.
Right.
And the other part of the problem is that there's a pipe, black stormwater pipe that was installed. And maybe somebody remembers what was there. I can vaguely picture that there was like a swale that came down there. And now there's probably a 12-inch pipe coming down.
I know the marker, the state marker was huge.
Oh, yeah,
It's
it's
big,
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But it was
probably,
moved?
Swear.
But
Yeah,
the
someone-
neighbor said,
How did they move it?
a neighbor says it was moved when they put the pipe in.
Mhm.
or before that.
Alright, so somebody's gonna have to go with a transit and.
And that's
find
not
out
our
whether
problem.
it's
That's,
true or
you
not,
know,
Yeah.
right?
Nobody from Concom wanted to have the meeting,
Yeah,
but I figured I would go.
yeah.
So,
So it's not our problem to determine the line.
I would think that would fall right to the state's lap. wouldn't it? I mean,
Suffield can push that back to the state. We can't. You know,
Always been a crazy corner there. If Ayotte had in Massachusetts, he lives, but he's got a Connecticut phone.
yeah,
If he had a kid, they go to a Suffield school system.
yeah.
All kinds of crazy
Right,
little.
because
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't, get.
You can't
to
get there from here.
Massachusetts Without crossing water.
okay, and the last item. A few weeks ago, I presented the chapter 91 update. Well, Jerry Patria contacted the state to see about his that's due this year,
Yeah, okay.
and he got a letter back. And because he was, and I'll read this short paragraph, because the approval of his dock was valid during the period between August 15th, 2008 and August 15th, 2012. It is automatically extended 4 years beyond the expiration date pursuant to the Permit Extension Act,
Mhm.
Section 173. And furthermore, it was extended another 462 days pursuant to the tolling provisions of COVID-19.
So where does that take it to?
Well.
It's down like a
No,
little short.
no,
Yeah, it's
well,
not short.
his is November 15th, 2029. But now means I gotta go back and
Oh,
redo. everything I
recalculate
did.
those other
Oh,
ones.
because all those others now have another
Yeah.
5.5 years on them.
Unless they ran out prior to,
So,
Right, now you gotta look and see where they in those years and, oh, this is fun.
well, I find it very disappointing because the authority is supposed to be the Hampden County Registry of Deeds,
yes,
and this is not in there.
so if it's not in,
Extension is not
right,
in
so if it's not in there, I wonder how the hell it can, in other words, right,
Somebody
The
just
state
didn't do
approved it,
it. Okay.
alright,
so I'll be updating that and
oh man, what a mess.
not right away, cause I'm not in.
I have a good question for you on that afterwards, nothing to do with this meeting,
Yeah,
because somebody else on your list there.
Yeah.
Hags from town towards you, 2 houses up. Apparently they had one,
yeah,
and I know the son that, he got the place when his father dies. And he's like, I didn't even know I had this. He said, what do I do? I said, I don't know, but I.
Some
know
of them
something
can
to
pass
ask."
down, some of them are, it depends on how it was written,
He's got a year or something to let it notify the state or
Right.
something like
Yeah.
that.
but it might have been extended
Yeah,
by the same rule.
that's why
Yeah.
I get for him.
And
And
that's my report on Concord.
Dandy.
just. a Make work project. Okay, do you have any update on the master plan?
Only thing is, the select board has not yet approved the addition of that committee. So there's been no action. No, so no update.
Well, all right, and CRC update. Is Michelle on, or are you gonna
No.
do?
She's not on and I didn't attend the last meeting,
Okay.
but Eric was there.
Not for the whole thing.
Okay.
So as, you know, I gave a presentation on the water quality and water level. Had a couple of good questions. That was very good. While I was there, there was a brief presentation given by the gentleman who wrote
Historical
this,
Society.
from the
Yeah.
Historical Society, who wrote this book on the canal and the
Oh,
rail
Carl.
trail.
Carl,
Walter,
Walter?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really smart.
So that was, that was very good and, sort of normal CRC stuff. I didn't stay through the whole meeting, so I don't know what happened at the
Hmm.
tail end.
Yeah, the only thing I heard is that they solicited if anybody would like to donate to this monument that they're going to do.
Right,
And we're not sure it relates enough to the lake to donate to it or not.
right.
All right,
Dick, what was that guy's name? Carl Walter?
Walter, Walter.
And he wrote a book on the canal?
Yeah.
I remember,
I-
Mike, that's
I
the,
actually have, I
You
have
can map-
yeah,
copies.
I have, he
you
made
got
that
copies of the
map.
book?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the book's available in soft copy. I think it's about $20 and hard copies 30.
Amazon? Is it on
No,
Amazon?
not through Amazon anymore.
Historical.
Historic
Through the
Society.
Historical
Oh,
Society
okay.
or straight from the printer.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, if you find that one, let me know, because
the-
what I have may be different.
The monument that they're gonna put up, part of the idea there is just so that people who go on the rail trail learn that, yeah, there was a canal,
Yeah,
cause.
Before
a
the
high
rail.
Percentage
No
of people
clue.
just have no idea. No, there was a canal, connected, all the way up there,
Northampton to New Haven.
to New Haven
don't
and then
know.
basically to the ocean. As a path to get
Yeah.
to the ocean. It's, just, a lot of people just don't know that ever existed.
Okay.
And you look at the stream next to the, next to the
And
rail
nobody thinks of
trail.
that as,
And it's like, oh, it's like this deep. It's like, yeah, that used to be 9 feet deep.
And 15 feet wide.
It's,
and that's what NRCS is trying, in other words, when they finally get the go-ahead, what they've got now is a company, the next level of engineering, which is boots on the ground type engineering.
Okay,
And they're also looking for construction money at the same time. And that will know probably in the fall timeframe, how they're doing. I'm staying in touch.
I mean, it'll take a long time, but.
Oh, yeah.
But if they do it,
Always does.
and with this, you kind of need the feds because it goes between the states.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And.
And
but-
between towns.
But they're talking about doing the restoration, and if they do that restoration, then all of a sudden, we really can manage lake level,
Right.
we could deal with storms and make sure we don't have.
Especially
floods
that
or-
canal,
I mean, if they restore it all the way, I mean, we'd be able to, proactively drop lake level when a huge storm is coming, we could, all that stuff would then be,
Make room for it.
would then be accessible and we would be able to prevent these problems.
Okay, so, 10 Grandview Terrace, which is pages 6 through 24 in your,
I've been reading those emails.
yeah, and what's interesting, and this supports what you said, before, is pages 6 and 7. I found that's an email that came from Brian Harrington, who was the, let's see, he was the legal beagle for Mass DEP Western Region and also the deputy director. He's since retired. And in fact, I think everybody that's on here has retired. But as you can read it, what it says, and the same is applicable for the local permitting program, is you have to have in your hands either a chapter 91 license recorded or a local permitting program that's been permit that has been duly processed with all the papers before you put the dock in. Not after,
Right, right. So obviously in this particular case, he upgraded the dock without that.
right? So that's what's wrong about that, is that you can't just say, I'm gonna double the length of it, and then come back and say, oh, by the way, I doubled the length of it.
I'm waiting for the paper.
Yeah, or I'm waiting for the
Check
paperwork.
is in the mail. I love that.
Yeah, yeah, and this piece of paper is a good one to have. You know. So, and Sabrina sent a letter to him about, you can read it. And we had the meeting on site. As Norm was describing, and you can see it in page 9, you can see the dock. So the wooden part that you're looking at is actually not counted for length because it's on the shore.
Right.
But on the end, the point was to swing that over to the right.
Right. Which I
Some
guess
6
he said,
feet.
okay.
In other words, rotate the end 6 feet.
Mm-hmm.
But that was not addressing the boats that are moored on there that are rentals. That's just addressing the dock. And then we also got into the discussion again, about the length of the dock being doubled without any permits. And he said, well, I already bought it, but that's not an excuse. That's absolutely not an excuse. That's too bad. So,
Right, so he needed to put that in his LPP application. The LPP application needed to include the drawings.
Well,
Which-
he had an LPP before. He needed to do a new LPP.
Right.
but he
Well,
had never
right,
provided,
and
he had never provided
the drawing.
the drawings in the past.
Right, that's for sure.
And I suspect that it would get approved.
Is the dock on his land?
Oh, yeah.
Because you're saying he has to swing it. Is that
Yeah.
because of extensions?
But
Yeah, it swings over.
Because what's happening is, it's swung toward the neighbor's land, and then if you put a boat there, then the neighbor's land is really occluded.
You're into the neighbor's
Property line.
property line extended,
Extension, right?
Yeah.
right?
Think of it this way, the survey says one thing, but he followed the shore, which has a circle to it.
Yep.
So he kind of packed it to the
Okay, so
left.
he's over,
Yeah.
he's over the extension. he's
Right,
around
but
the other
my
person's
understanding is that he said, fine, he'll move it.
Not property.
Yeah, but then I guess
About 60
he's
feet out.
saying, no, I don't wanna move it.
Oh,
That's what I heard.
He agreed to.
Well,
Lyle said he would move it.
but he wasn't at the meeting when we were out
Yes, he
there.
was.
No, that was Rick
Oh, no,
Devine.
Oh, that's right. He was
Yeah.
at the conservation meeting this
Right,
last month.
right. So did he say he'd move it at the
Yes,
conference?
he did say.
Okay.
he'd move
So
it.
there you go, we're fine.
So
And where
hopefully he
where are
does.
People gonna park their cars.
Well, that's another
That-
part of this.
that's-
And we
right,
gotta get into that.
and Concom correctly said, look, that's not our bailiwick.
Except that he's parking them on the beach.
Right, that's all you could assume.
Which,
No, he is.
Yeah, well, sure,
which-
where else?
so then it will become Concom's.
And I hear the harbor master or police chief may put no parking signs.
Yeah,
up
that
there.
hearing is, I believe, this coming Monday.
Yeah.
which is on the select board agenda to go over that. No parking, the entire length of,
And the whole corner's always been a night.
oh, terrible, terrible, so dangerous.
Yeah,
It's very tight.
I have a question on that
Yeah.
subject, since we're talking about it. Now, he's trying to use LPP. Section 1.5 of the LPP says non-commercial use,
Yeah,
Right.
so
So
if he's
that we-
charging money, that's commercial.
So we have a kink in our plumbing, because I agree with you,
I do
But-
too.
but
Yeah.
someone,
I'm
someone.
not trying to make it
Someone
hard,
has
I'm just,
asked,
Yeah.
someone has asked the state, someone at the state and someone at the state has come back and said that their interpretation of that is that that level of operation is not what's meant by commercial. That
meaning
you,
10 boats or more.
no, she didn't say 10 boats or more, but it was because 10 boats or more is a marina,
Marina.
that's a whole
Yeah.
other thing.
Yeah.
But basically, that their belief, or whatever part of the agency's belief, is that that terminology is referring to a, like a real
A business.
going business, like renting boats or that sort of thing, and that level of,
didn't apply.
they didn't say commercial, but that level didn't apply.
Right.
I don't know whether they're correct or wrong, but,
And the,
but that's what they've said.
planner is
is
looking
anything
into
going
that.
on with that? Oh, but that's.
It's their lake, remember,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not ours.
Right, so, well, and and look, we've had problems in the past, if you'll recall what happened at North Pond a few years ago, where someone from the state errantly said, oh, yeah, you can run jet skis in North Pond,
Yeah,
and they were wrong,
Right,
but they said it, and then it became a nightmare for everybody to try and untangle that
Season or
knot.
two to straighten that
Right,
one.
to straighten it out, so the person who gave us this response may be right or may be wrong, I don't know. But we now have that response to deal with, so Concom can't just go, well, look, you're taking money, that's commercial. I think that's correct. But now there's somebody from the state who's saying, no, that's not what we mean by
chasing
commercial.
that or just. giving
I
up
asked
on it?
Sabrina,
No,
I
we
asked
should
Sabrina
actually
for her
inquire.
opinion on it, and she would say, that's a whole different animal, it's a state issue, not
Right.
town.
no, but
issue."
it's actually, it's
Well-
also a town issue, because that's why the planner is looking at it, because it may violate our R20, well, residential,
Right.
what do you call it, bylaws,
Zoning.
zoning bylaws.
We should actually identify that person.
That is, it's John Goddard.
No, the
Yeah.
one from the state.
We know who it is from the
Chrissy
state,
Hobbs.
and
Chrissy.
she's
Hobbs.
she's usually pretty careful,
Yeah.
so my guess is that she didn't just say that.
Mm.
My guess is she asked somebody. My experience with her has been that she's usually pretty careful. It doesn't mean I agree with everything she says, but she's usually pretty careful.
Did you
So
call her?
I didn't. I'm guessing that she asked somebody and didn't just
But I also,
say that.
also the harbor master is getting a legal opinion from our town council. Which is good, because again, it's how do you treat the word commercial
Right.
is the key.
Right,
Yeah.
because for me, commercial is involving commerce, and commerce is the exchange,
Of money,
the exchange of,
of goods or and
of,
services.
of money
Yeah.
for goods
Goods
or
and services.
services is commerce. So that seems to me that this is commerce. But that's just my opinion. It's,
Exactly.
So, to your question, Concom actually made the request to have the town attorney
Yeah,
give that a.
okay,
Oh, good,
that's good.
yeah,
So that is option one, and option two, if that one comes back and if the town attorney says the state's right, then we'll change in the LPP to say that rental space on docks is illegal. We'll put it
Yeah.
in, if
Right,
the
put it
state
in
will
the-
approve that,
in the
it'll
LPP.
take a while.
Yeah.
Oh, he
Okay,
does.
Would the bylaws be the same for Connecticut? So
Yes.
if you're in,
yeah, it's
Yes.
LPP.
Yeah,
so the town ordinance would be the same if you were in Connecticut or
yes,
South?
Yes.
because it's,
because
It's
the
Massachusetts
docks are
water.
in Mass water.
No, there was a guy right across from Rick at that yellow house on the peninsula.
yeah.
He rents 4 slips
Yeah, I
over
know
there
he does.
every year.
Yeah.
He's been doing it forever. I know
I know
people
who that
who
is.
lease $2,000 a slip. And he's still doing it. I
Yeah.
guarantee you.
Oh, yeah.
He was doing it over on Beach Road
He
too.
puts them in the Yankee Flyer for slips for rent.
So look, we need to get it straightened out. Clearly, we have some differences of opinion, some confusion. the Concom has asked the town's attorney, maybe that'll straighten the issue out, maybe it
Which,
won't.
and that's why I happen to say the harbor master, because he's actually acting CAO, and that's why it has to go through him.
Yeah, and I asked him at the meeting
Yeah.
specifically. Are you gonna send this off to the town attorney? And he
Yeah.
said yes.
Good, good.
One
So,
more, one more twist on
This is
that.
gonna need
Is
to
the
play out.
association, then what do you do with all the association docks? Because they pay dues to be able to put a boat on that dock, so it's another way of generating revenue. Monies are changing hands.
Yeah,
But
it's a fair question, but
yeah,
I
I
don't
don't-
think that's
I think
commercial,
that
cause
would-
it's not, they're not renting the space,
And they're not
right?
they're non-profit.
Right,
Mm.
Those are all non-profit.
There's
Right.
non-profit.
I know, they're trying to make a profit.
Oh, wow.
And for
no, no,
ours,
don't worry, they're good at losing money,
Yeah.
it's not a problem.
for our Little Beach Association, they have a boat group and you pay the
So-
boat group,
Boat group.
yeah.
Right, but that may
a
not,
subset.
that may not be considered rental,
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
that's
I don't know. I know.
in any
Can't get our
case,
boat
we're,
business
this committee's not involved. in
No,
Yeah.
no, nothing else we can
It's the
do.
hierarchy figure.
Hey,
out.
Right,
Hey, this is Mike Coons. Can I ask a normal question? Are those 4 boats, got stickers? Cause they can't be in the water without a sticker.
He admitted they, only one boat had a sticker, but he would make the others legal. Is what he said at the Concom.
And we gotta make sure that
Okay,
before those stickers
Non-resident.
go out, that they get the ruling from
Right.
our council. That Gene does not give those stickers.
How about the guy across from Rick? Does he have stickers? No.
He probably doesn't even have it registered to dock.
No,
But-
if I know.
but
Yeah,
that's
I don't
the
think it's
Connecticut,
even
but that's our
registered.
Connecticut
Right.
issue with
Right.
LPP,
Right.
That's right, that's
He's in
Suffield.
Connecticut, yeah.
right, that's Suffield, so that goes through
That
that,
guy's been doing it for years, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
so, let's,
Move on.
right,
Yeah.
it's not us,
Okay,
Concom's got it, let's.
Next page.
all right, next one is hydrilla. And so it's kind of the bad news and the good news. Bad news is we have hydrilla, so pages 25 and 26 tell you a story about from whence it cometh.
Yeah.
And it started really in Florida, from what this says, and it came
Exactly.
from China and what was the other one? 2 places. Uh,
India and Korea.
India and
It's
Korea.
native to India and Korea.
Yeah, and so it was introduced here because people got it for fish tanks, then dumped the contents in the water like other things in
Just like
Florida.
milfoil, just like
And it
milfoil.
doesn't have any natural enemy, so it found its way all over the place, and it's all over the country. It's not just
Yeah.
picking on the Connecticut River.
Which turns out to be good for us.
Yeah.
Because since it is all over the place, we don't have to pay for fixing it.
And the other thing that I had mistakenly put in, somewhere along the way, I said. US ACE, it's US Fisheries and Wildlife is actually the one that has the money. And is doling it out, and it went to DCR. A big grant for DCR to cover Connecticut River and some of the other water bodies, and we were the recipients of $250,000 worth of grant money. And we've got all that paperwork, you can read it at your leisure,
Yeah, I saw it.
there's about 25 pages or so in here. Unless, it's pretty neat because what they do, Solitude is the one that will. They're already under contract with us for 3 years to do treatment. It's the same diclot / reward that's used for the other 2 invasives, the Eurasian water milfoil and the curly leaf pondweed. But they're skewed in when they occur.
Right.
So you have to have 2 sets of viewings and, assessments and mappings. And then you have 2 sets of treatments, because you can't do it simultaneously, because it's the wrong time to treat it. So what they did, Solitude has mapped the Eurasian water milfoil, and which I emailed everybody those maps, on Congamon. Very little, you'll see,
Right.
we're down to very, very, those are not the treatment maps, that's the locations. So the
Right.
treatment's always bigger than the.
The same
dock.
locations basically we've always had though.
Yeah,
They show
yeah,
the same
Yep, trouble areas. They're mucky, gooey
Mhm.
corners, where the stuff settles.
Mhm.
So at any rate, we are, the first year, it's like $26,000, something like that, 26.5, that's going to Solitude, and 65,000 going to Stantec. Stantec's the one that's doing this, DNA mapping, which they have developed a means of actually detecting, let's say there's a plant over where Deb is, and I back up and I go back 100 feet or 200 feet. That process that they have can detect that over there, there's, what do you call it, hydrilla. And then the mapping that, what do you call it does, that Solitude does, will pinpoint the actual location of the plants that are growing under the water.
Hmm.
So it's a combination of the two, and they are working very closely together. And fortunately, Stantec, we just had to piggyback on their contract with the Commonwealth, because they did the highest level procurement that Commonwealth did. And Stantec is one of the ones that made it through the gauntlets, and so we're just sign on with them and do it. So we're very lucky, because we had put in for an additional like 12,000, I think it was 12.5 or 12,000, which would have been a drop in the bucket for what they're gonna do.
Right,
And even would have been a drop in the bucket just for what Solitude was gonna do.
right.
Yeah.
Right, because we were gonna have Solitude basically look for it, find it and treat.
Yeah,
But what these guys are doing is much more comprehensive.
From what I read in there, it sounded to me like they had to do the check first before we do our treatment.
yes,
Since the
and
treatment's coming up,
that's how it's
That
timed.
means they've already done their first check.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
Yeah, and both have done them. Both Stantec and Solitude have finished
That
there.
Definitely gotta come back a second one after the first treatment.
Yes,
For
yes.
the milfoil.
Because what happens, and the reason it had to be skewed like that, is if you treat the Eurasian water milfoil and the curly pondweed, and there's some hydrilla present where you are treating, it starts to break down, and then it sends out like spores all over the place. And now you don't know where it is in the lake. So that's why Stantec wanted to do the more accurate measurements before any treatment was done. And so it's been great coordination. I probably have 50 emails between Stantec and Solitude and myself. And, keeping everybody abreast of what's going on. But like I said, we are really, really fortunate that this is happening on a grant.
Yeah.
A big grant. So, and the select board approved the grant. Applying for it, they approved the contract. We have a final contract coming from Stantec, which we'll probably get Monday. And then that'll be the one that's the dollars against the grant. That's allowing us to spend dollars against the grant. So,
All good.
yeah, very, very good, good information. And very lucky. Any other questions on hydrilla? All right, the SPD boathouse, some more good news. If you go to pages 57 through 66, you don't have to read them, but I'll give you a Reader's Digest version. And so the 61 to 64 shows where it's gonna go. There's some sketches in there. And you can actually see the building. And do you know where the green double door is, and the metal double doors at the north ramp? That's where it's going, right? That's coming out. The pump that's in there will go in the new building.
Okay.
And we've already got power, we've got camera feeds to there. We got everything that they need. And also alarm. We can link them, make them another section of our alarm system. So that it'll be alarmed, it'll have cameras, it'll have lights, everything that they need.
Yeah.
So, and that's all approved by the state, which it had to be before anybody can do any construction. And PD is looking for grant money to construct it. So it's not gonna be town taxpayer money.
That probably
And-
won't happen this year, Dick. Probably won't happen this year.
I don't think they have to get the grant money and then I think it would be spring, literally, you know, before they could do it.
Mhm. Okay.
They did get their new boat, by the way. And the building is designed to accommodate the new boat, which is much bigger than the old one.
What's the cost on the building? Any idea?
My gut says that they're probably looking at maybe 25, 30K, something like that.
I think they're gonna have to do an NOI.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Concom too, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, but the thing that we plan on doing is instead of any kind of dredging operations or anything. We've got some, remember how the North Ramp used to have slabs of concrete? Before we went to when they completely redid it and did the cast in place, poured in place. Well, we've got several of those, and those can be laid right on the bottom of the sand. As a ramp. And the way this thing works is that there'll be an electric winch inside the building. There'll be like a sled that's on wheels and a track. And so the boat comes up and sits in the water, sits on a bed, on beds, just like you have on a trailer.
Like a trailer.
Yep, and then it gets pulled into the building, and then when you wanna go back out, cause it's gonna be on a slope coming into the building. And then once you're in the building, shut the garage door that's on it, and it's secure, and there's a man door so you can come in from the side. There's an area, it's all gonna be fenced in besides, and we'll be able to store our buoys in the fenced in area. We won't have to move the buoys anymore. So, and, yeah, yeah, but that will be, and there'll be a small, the plan is to have a dock for them, so when they pull in to take it into the building, they have a place to pull up, and then you get off, you snap the hook on the boat and pull it in. And it'll be available 24/7. That's what's really nice. They don't have to trailer a boat anymore.
Just one excuse gone.
Sounds like the 25 will be 50.
It's really not too bad, because it's only it's concrete and a wood frame.
Are we actually getting our officers in the lake this year?
They're supposed to. I've seen the sheriffs out there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They've been out this year already?
yes, oh, yeah,
Weekend,
Yeah.
saw 'em last weekend.
yep. And they've been out weekdays too.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Presents, the presents, you know.
that's good.
Yeah.
So then 67 and 68 and so on. That's this request to change the local permitting program, and I think as you can look at it, I'll show you which ones, or maybe Norm even wants to talk about it. But if you go to page 69 and 70. And correct me if I'm wrong, Norm, but the areas that I understand that are being changed are, because they're bolded, are 1.5 D
That's correct,
and 1.5 and D 1, 2, and 3.
correct.
And I think that's the only sets of changes, correct?
Well, there was some minor changes, on page 70 under 2.1.
2.1, okay.
And
Oh, I see it, yeah,
it's highlighted there.
yeah. Okay,
Okay.
very minor changes, yes.
Okay, and now,
Now, there should be something in here about commercial, right?
1.5 is where the commercial is.
1.5. Actors in a Daniel, non-commercial, yeah, okay, that's bold too.
and then, is this, I'm looking at 4.13, is that also an update?
4.13. 4.113.
4.13.
Yes, 24 inches maximum.
The deck shall be,
No, that is not an update.
oh, okay.
Oh, that's just because it was folded before.
Folded before.
Got it,
Okay,
okay.
1.5. I don't see the 1.5, guys.
Well, the 1.5 D, the entire
Okay,
section
okay,
D.
that whole section.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
entire section D.
Yeah,
All right.
Did you say something about 1.4 too, or no?
No changes to 1.5.
Okay.
no,
Yeah,
All right.
Any,
Hey, Norm, Mike Coombs, a question. Where is the property that this, that it states that Concom approved something about this? Where did this happen? That this came up? Right on the first sentence, it says Concom approved and we need to address this. The first sentence on the Concom from the select board. I don't have it in front of me, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
The recent application and favorable conservation commission decision,
Right where it says it's under,
that one,
dear Mr. Pratt.
Yeah, where did that happen?
That happened at the Drury property,
Okay,
530 Griffin Road in West Suffield.
right,
Suffield.
okay. And
Yeah.
there was something there that they could move?
yeah, the issue is,
She has,
a disability.
Yeah.
And access to the water.
Okay, what's the disability portion? The person or the access to the water?
The person with
Uh,
access to the water.
No,
So,
it's-
No,
if we had forced her to move her dock to the north,
She can't get to it.
she can't get to it.
okay,
And also she would have to go to a floating dock because the water's too deep.
Right,
And the floating dock would be too difficult for her to
Too-
maneuver.
tipsy, you know,
okay,
I know
Okay.
about Tipsy.
so that's why this is.
Okay.
To
so
address,
this,
it. And it could
this is-
be a different disability, you know? Right.
okay, my question is, as we go further down the road, because you always read more into it, I guess. This will not be able to be used for the removal of docks and say, oh, I'm disabled, I can't pull my docks anymore. We're not going that way with this, right?
No,
No.
no,
Okay.
No.
All right,
This.
exclusive of, this is placement.
Right, right.
Okay.
This is language, right, this is language about the configuration and placement of the dock, not language about the removal. There is a process for saying my dock isn't removable. There's a
Right.
hardship process for that.
Mhm.
But that hardship process, because we've been through that before, is not the physical hardship of the owner. It's the
Right.
locational hardship that there are places where it's just completely impractical to remove a dock.
Right.
right, yeah, we've addressed that before, I agree.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
All right.
There-
That's true, and it's under that section of it, but when you read through what they wrote in here, it talked about physical disabilities and everything else.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it would include them at that point, wouldn't it?
That's my question on the wording.
I don't think so, because then at that point, that's a completely different thing. In other words, there's a construction thing of,
Yeah.
I need to be able to construct the dock so that
I
I'm
can
disabled and I'm
access it.
able to access it. But to say, well, I'm disabled, so,
It's gonna stay in.
so the dock has to stay in, would be, I'm
That's why I'm
disabled, so I
asking
don't have to
questions,
shovel
because
my path.
That's why I'm asking
Yeah,
the question,
yeah.
because when
Okay.
I read through this, that's how it sounded like it was being written
Yeah.
to me.
no,
It's
that,
gonna open up, I think, that bag of
Maybe we
worms.
should clarify that in there then.
Yeah,
Obviously, we don't want to discriminate against disabilities or anything like that, and it should apply to the whole
what we
program,
could-
not
right.
just.
I think what we could do is right in here is point to and say it does not obviate. Let's see.
right, the
What's the
requirement for
paragraph?
seasonal
Docks.
removal. Right, that does not obviate the requirement for seasonal removal,
Right,
which is.
which is paragraph. Do.
Seasonal, that's on the six, isn't it? 6.2?
Yeah, it's 6 somewhere,
6.2, look.
Yeah, 6.2.
6.2,
Yeah.
yeah. So it does not obviate any of the requirements of 6.2,
6.2, right.
so we should add that.
Thank you.
Excellent,
Okay, good find.
or negate. Maybe that'd be a better word,
Right,
negate
right, does not negate the requirements of 6.2.
requirements
Okay,
of
Thank you.
6.2. That's a good one,
Good.
good catch. Or we'll be back again.
So if there's anything else that you want to add to the whole LPP,
Yeah, this is the
Now's the-
time to do it.
now's the time to do it.
Do we want to clarify right now
Yeah,
about
non-
commercial?
yeah,
Well, but I think Concom's already taken up that, right? So I don't think we have to step into it, right?
I don't think it's our
unless there's
position.
something here.
It's not our position, I think, to.
Right. Right, I mean, if somebody asked, would we say, yes, we'd like to see that in there, but I think at the moment, we don't need to speak. Concom is
You gotta
running
let them
this.
do their job.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't hurt if LMC said for.
Yeah, we can make a recommendation.
Right.
Okay, all right, I'm fine with that. Yeah, so,
Because it's a lake safety issue.
right. Right, okay, so, I don't have,
Yeah.
right, I don't have a problem with us saying, you know, our recommendation, because we can't,
Yeah,
we don't have the authority, our recommendation is that the word commercial should be interpreted to include the rental of docks.
Yeah,
And like,
Which
Concom,
is
no,
a
we
whole lot
support
of
them
that
in
going
that,
on.
you know, kind of stuff, because
A
that's.
lot more than you would realize,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
but that doesn't make it right.
No,
So is that a motion? Cause
That's what we need, is a motion.
we need a motion.
Yeah.
What he just said is the
Right.
first motion,
Motion.
and I
will be
second it.
Eric. Second is gonna be Malcolm,
Exactly what he said.
and vote's gonna be. Let me go down, I gotta read them.
Now prove it.
All right,
Prove it.
all in favor,
Aye.
opposed, abstain. All right, now let me read where my paper cheat sheet go, here we go. Norm Cheever,
I,
Mike Coombs,
Aye.
Malcolm DeBay,
I,
Mike DeBay,
aye,
Dick Randall's aye. Scotty Graves.
Aye.
Deb Harris.
Aye.
Eric Muller,
Aye.
Paul Murphy.
Aye.
All right, unanimous, affirmed. Oh. Okay,
Hey, Dick, I still have a comment on the LPP on what the selectmen were talking about on people that have docks closer than 25 feet and have agreed with their neighbors that they both have put them on that side of their property, so they have more beach. And I did that 22 years ago under Chief Ricardo. And at that time, if your neighbor agreed to it, you could be within the 25 feet. And
Yeah,
that-
right,
that is something they stated. So can you be grandfathered for that, or
well,
how do
it's
we
supposed
address
to
that?
be, it's supposed to be in a, what do you call it, variance that is approved by Lake Management, Concom, and the Harbor Master.
so the one
But that
question I
didn't
had-
exist 22 years ago.
Right, so first, I agree, let me just back up one step. So my understanding of this, see if everybody reads it the way I read it, is
Paragraph
the
2.1,
2.1.
yeah,
The 25 feet, no dock shall be closer than 25 feet from the extended property line, except where there is less than 60 feet of accessible waterfront by land or extended property lines converge as in a cove, or unless deemed a hardship by the town. So my read of that is for people who have less than 60 feet of frontage, they can be closer than 25 feet. But as you continue, it does say, for these exceptions, the dock and associated boats shall not interfere with a neighbor's access.
right,
So,
and that's the variance.
right, so yes, if you've got less than 60 feet of frontage, you can have your dock closer than 25 feet from the edge. But then when you got a boat on it, you can't then be preventing your neighbor from accessing their frontage. That's fine.
Should we state in here that somewhere, and maybe it's already here. I've read this thing so many times, but should we state in here about a variance of is required
So
with approval by?
So here-
What was the first page on that?
70,
LPP.
page 70 is where we were talking.
But you're
So-
talking every dock on South Pond, it's got 50-foot lot.
Hang on,
Yeah.
hang on.
So you're saying everyone's got 50-foot lots down
Yeah,
there.
so the
So variance.
The concern that I have before we or anybody else goes off and puts that in writing
Yeah,
is somebody needs to estimate how many of these there's gonna be. Because
a
if
lot.
every one of these needs to go through,
It'll kill a
if we've
system.
if we've got a situation where we're fixing a problem that doesn't exist, meaning
Yeah,
where the neighbors are agreed, nobody's complaining. If somebody complains, yes, it should go through this process, but if nobody's complaining, if there may be 50 or more properties that have this.
I think
And-
if we
and
made it
every one
50
of these-
feet, I think if that were 50 feet, because most of the properties in those subdivisions were 50 feet frontage.
they are, Dick, but you know what? I live in,
Yeah,
right? Goes from the canal, first house coming off the canal, all the way past your house.
yeah,
they're all 50-foot lots basically,
Yeah,
but they were 50 foot on the angle of the street at Iroquois Drive.
oh, so that
When
they're
you
not
get down, If
necessarily,
you took and made it into a rectangle versus a parallelogram,
yeah, yeah.
it's only
But-
48.
Right, but the way this is written, you don't need to go through a variance just because you're closer than
No, but
25 feet. If, when you put your boat on it, you now block your neighbor so that they can't
Because they say
access, so that
accessible.
they can't access.
Or leaning over just a little bit over the line, a little bit, a foot, not.
Right,
killing
then,
access, but
you know, the way this is written, then you
Mike's
need,
question was, do you need to have that written down? Cause
So-
we do years down the road, people
So-
have been changing on a regular
right,
basis.
so my concern is that if we aren't the ones who would do it, if the town goes and says every one of these needs to go through a variance,
We're swamped.
the
Oh, yeah.
issue is it will
Okay.
choke, it would
Right.
choke the system.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
How about
I,
that with
I
50
wouldn't
feet?
put that, it's still gonna choke the
Still
system.
the same.
There's just so
It's
many.
not broke, you don't fix it. We're just
So-
making a mess.
So I
Good.
think if a neighbor complains,
Then you have
then
to,
there's a variance process, they need to bring it before Conservation
Yeah.
Commission, it needs to go through a
do
whole
we need
thing.
any words in there?
Let me add, put my 2 cents worth in, right? First of all, under 2.1 forms, it says all applicants for an initial annual permit,
Right,
meaning new, as far as the way I read it today.
right,
Now, I'm gonna date myself now because I was around when we did the original LPP.
Yep,
And my original dock is on the corner of my property, 3 feet in from the edge of the property line, even if I have 136 feet on the lake.
right.
In any event, at that time frame when that originally came out, if your neighbor had an issue about it, he had so many days to complain to
That's
the
correct.
town.
that's in the front end.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was on the front end, right there in black and white. If the neighbor had an issue with it, he had so many days to complain. My neighbor did not complain about it for a lot of reasons. First of all, I signed a variance so he could put his house close to my fence.
yeah.
But that's not why he did it. He did it because I have, first of all,
You haven't
not
got a
my fault, he only had 50 feet of frontage and I got 136 feet. But I have never put a boat on the other side of the
Yeah,
dock,
right.
all right? So good, bad, or different, I'd fight this all day
So
long.
should we, are you saying we should strike the word initial?
No,
Well,
I'm just.
that's all right.
I'm just saying,
No, that's
new,
good.
new.
Okay.
We're existing. As far as I'm concerned, I'm an
So
existing permit.
I think, but I think,
Or do we have to add the word existing in here?
I'm
No.
saying new. A
So
new dock permit, yes,
I don't think we need to add anything. I think what we don't, right now, the way it's written, you don't need to go get a variance. I don't wanna see
Unless
us,
there's an issue.
I personally don't wanna see language added that creates a situation that every single dock that's closer
Has
than
to have a
25
variance.
feet is
Absolutely,
going to have to
You're
go
right.
through a variance
Absolutely.
process.
absolutely.
It will choke the system.
Yep.
If the neighbor complains, then it should go through a variance process.
Now, and do we state that in, is that stated? If there's a complaint? Or
The-
is that something we should add as words?
Yes, we could potentially add words to that effect.
And that would solve that
Right,
problem.
right, that
I believe, Eric, that's what the board is asking for, some kind of wording.
Right.
Because it does exist. I'm in the same boat as Scotty 22
Right.
years ago.
Yeah, so
I
why don't
disagree.
we,
Let's put
why
it
don't we
close.
recommend adding some words?
Right, that say, if, you know, and, yeah, so I'm trying to do it a cappella right now. It's
Yeah,
not
right.
good. But I think we should either suggest wording or just suggest that somebody suggests wording, either way.
We could do it here.
That we suggest wording that if there is a dispute with the affected neighbor, then the variance process should be followed. There is a variance process, we don't have to make a new one. Follow the variance process, and if the abutting neighbor is not complaining, then don't fix things that are.
See, I don't see that
Fixing
because
things broken.
it says initial, that's a new dock.
Right,
And I think everything should be grandfathered.
That's
Like
that was my
Scotty's.
comment.
Except when they move them, that's the problem.
Well, no, but I'm saying if you've got an existing dock in there for 30 years and all of a sudden the neighbor says, I don't like that dock. It's too close to my land. That's it. You're gonna go to a variance process according to what he's saying.
yeah.
That's not right. You could have your dock there 30 years,
Right.
40 years.
That's what I say too. It's
New
grandfathered.
people move in. There you go. A new
Yeah,
person
that's a
moves
good
in and
point.
says, I don't like that dock. You know what? Then a guy who's had his dock there for 30 years is down here with us.
Yeah.
Because
And you
some,
don't want that.
I don't think
no,
you do. I
no.
think you gotta leave it
I agree.
alone. Cause it says initial.
Well, do we
just
need
leave it alone.
anything about stating about
Yeah, I
if
get
there's,
what you're
if
saying.
there's a,
Following the
because you could
variance.
refuse the variance. You can always refuse the variance, because you can say, you know, it's been there for 25 years.
Yeah,
How would you know that?
Oh, you can tell,
Google Maps.
Google Maps, I do that all the time. Oh, yeah.
I
Oh, yeah.
think
Well,
that-
not
that
25
process is
years.
You can go
already
back
there.
15 years, easy.
For variance. I would say do nothing with it, because if we, the process is already here, if somebody really doesn't
seems to
like
be
it.
working
they could-
pretty
they
well.
could,
Right.
You know, ask for a variance.
Not broke, Dick.
Yeah, don't fix
Get
it.
involved.
Don't make it, don't break
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Don't break it.
Just happened, right?
Pardon?
We just talked about two of them you just did. The dock with the rentals and the one in the
Right.
corner.
Well, and in each case,
Where
he
he
changed,
moved it.
he changed,
Right.
but he changed what was there. Because,
Yeah, but I'm saying the variance process. The
It
neighbor
exists,
complained.
it works.
right,
The neighber
right,
complained.
Oh, is that what happened?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
So it's working.
because he doubled the length, and the problem was when he,
Oh, okay.
see,
And
I,
the angle
that
was
one I see,
cocked
but
up.
I didn't know.
if you look at it,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
if I'm sitting back here and that's the line, I don't have a problem. But if I'm sitting here and I put a boat on it, the boat's hanging over the property
I
line,
see.
now there's a problem,
So I think the long and the short of it is,
leave it alone.
this isn't currently broken.
Yeah, so let's not fix it.
There
Let's
we
not
go.
break it.
Let's keep going.
All
Next.
right, next.
Yes.
All right. The next thing is, just, I gave you the information. There was an issue with on, it's page 78, 78, 79, 80 and whatnot.
Mhm.
And so, a lot of you may be familiar with it. If you go down Lakeview Street, the one that's going off of Babb Road, that end of Lakeview Street, straight ahead. And there is a common area that's beach access. And it's deeded beach access for a lot of those houses there. That was done by Nelson Babb originally, that subdivision. And so, and that's a 1920 something subdivision, 28, I think it was. But anyway, there's a person at number 41, and we figure it's number 41 because the railings are painted brown, the house is painted brown, and it says private, keep out. You can't do that.
Which you can't do that.
Oh,
It's not their property. They can't.
It's
do
not their property. So, you know,
But I mean, that doesn't look like an LMC issue to me. That's,
well, we can make a recommendation that
Yeah.
back to the, because it would go back to conservation and the harbor master. The harbor master could tell them, take the words off that.
yeah, I'm just.
They also
surprised
gotta
that
remove the
the
dog.
harbor master.
The dock, what about the benches? Whose benches are those?
I don't know whose benches they are.
I see the two benches.
Yeah,
mean,
less
it-
concerned about benches because if
This-
somebody
this-
wants to
this
sit
is-
down there.
This is someone else's. I don't get it. I mean, it's
You're not
somebody else's property. You
Common
can't,
property.
right, it's common
Common.
property. You don't get to claim it. I don't,
Well,
that doesn't
benches
look
are
like an
painted the
LMC
same as the
issue to
house.
me.
Yeah.
That's just like,
Yeah,
but people do that all over the lake.
yeah,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
no, I understand, but it's like, okay, well, you,
Tell
no,
them-
you.
So
you
just tell
can't
the
do that.
harbor master or
Right.
who's in
If you
charge of
can't-
that?
Yeah, she's got a good point. We don't. we're
No.
not involved in that.
Right.
This is, it's a good one.
No, it's his point.
Yeah.
It is. Okay.
I can
I wanna be on
I can send an email to the harbor master. If that's what you want me to do.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
property line issue. It's not, it doesn't seem like a lake
Well,
management.
it's not a
line.
it's using public land for
Right.
private use, somebody
Right.
taking it over.
Right, but that,
Mhm.
it just doesn't smell like an LMC thing. It just seemed, that one seems so cut and dry and just, you know, I
I think
can't
it's just a harbor master.
right, I can't just decide
Yeah.
that this public land is now mine.
No, but I think that would go to the harbor master.
Okay,
Isn't that the same issue that, who was the guy that was from North Pond? That kids used to go down and fish all the time also, and somebody
Oh,
decided. that
Oh, yeah,
was their
Steve
land.
Schmidt found that
Steve,
the,
yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
right, yeah, that happens.
Same basic issue.
same problem, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, an individual that took it over.
yeah, you can't do that.
And you can't do that. And that's why, by the way, that's why Mr. Goldberg over in the corner of North Pond had to get his dock out of there because he put his dock on property that belonged to the association. And the previous owner of that property did not participate in the suit that got when they took over property, which they shouldn't have done, but they took over all that corner. And wrote a quitclaim deed and said, it's mine now. I got a nice
I
bridge I'd
remember-
like
I
to sell
remember
you.
that,
Do you
yeah.
have maps on all of that
Oh,
stuff?
yeah, oh, yeah.
Because South Pond had a road all the way down to the canal. And everybody put boats in for years and years and years when I was a kid.
Yeah, and when,
Until, the Hebert started taking it over.
Hmm.
And then, our
If
guy,
you know the
guy that
location, send me the
left, yeah.
location and I'll see if I
I
can.
know exactly where it is. Was it actually?
Send me
it's the
something.
last property before you get to the canal, right?
And
Yeah.
that used to have a road all the way down
And I,
to
yeah, and I thought it,
it.
was
And there was supposed to be a
common
common property for everybody in back. And
Right,
Mike,
that right of way starts at the corner of my property. Cause that's the end of Iroquois Drive at that point, and it goes down, right now, it goes down to where.
Oh, you're talking about Iroquois, yes, there was.
well,
Where
where
Chris
Chris
Sierra
Sierra used to live.
Right, there was a right of way.
But there was a road around back.
There's a right of way.
Yes,
Now, the road went around back. There were two roads there.
yeah,
Chris filled in the hole.
yeah,
It went around, the road went around the hole
yes,
and it went right down and there was an actual ramp that was set up for people to put boats in.
yeah,
We
Yep.
used to put our boat in there when we were kids and everybody in the back was supposed to have a right of way there.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, that went away when Chris filled in that area and he put a lawn out there. And then they started fighting over it because it wasn't Chris's land. And it was, who was the guy back there, Mike?
Jim Gassner.
Jim Gassman.
that's it, that's it,
That's the
Yeah.
guy. So he filled all that area in.
yeah,
Jim, and then he sold it to someone else. So it's all gone away, guys, but the
Okay.
thing is, the bottom line is, there's sprinklers and lawn where there used to be access
Right.
for everybody in the
everybody
back,
get down there, huh?
which is interesting. If you have maps on that, I'd like to see it. On the old maps.
Yeah, you have to send me something.
I'll get you,
as a
I'll get
reminder.
you the address, okay?
Yeah.
I'll email it to you. Next, I'm sorry. about
Because I'm
that.
retiring from the DPW on
Quick, I gotta do it quick then, that's what you're
Yes.
telling me.
What's the date of retirement?
June 21st.
June 21st.
Tick, tick, tick.
Yeah.
Weeks, baby.
Yeah.
All over.
So anyway, that, I covered everything in there, and let's see, there was one other thing that I emailed, just so you had it, and you can read it. I gave you the maps in color of the treatment areas, which is pretty neat, because it's the areas that we've always had problems with, and they're small. And they will, this is the survey results, not the treatment.
When they do the treatment, make sure you email me that.
Okay,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I,
the treatment map.
yeah, because I keep that, I'm kind of the keeper of the ongoing record,
Yep,
so.
I'll actually email it to everybody as soon as we get it. Now, I do have one other request before I forget. I've got two more areas that need to be done. One is the northern end of Middle Pond on the Mass side and Middle Pond on the Connecticut side.
I can do the middle on the Connecticut
Okay,
side.
so here's Middle
But I
Connecticut.
need to borrow a stapler from somebody because everything I own is in my rolling the shipping container in the backyard.
Oh,
I
okay.
have no tools. Everything in the building went into the shipping.
And is there
container.
somebody that can
And every
do
place else I can-
We got two already?
We got two.
You got two already.
So I'm good.
What day are we putting these up?
Next
Friday.
Next Friday,
Okay.
Get a little weaker or something.
next Friday, not this
Friday.
Friday, not tomorrow.
Well, Michelle usually.
I'll ask
Get
Michelle if
somebody.
she can do that.
Yeah, she gets somebody.
I think
from
she did last
CRC.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
so I'll put Michelle question
That's
mark.
one, what's the other thing?
I got-
I'm gonna make a
I got
motion,
some.
we adjourn.
No, no,
No.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was asked by an interested party where the fishing tournament money goes.
What do you mean, the fishing
You
tournament?
know, the tournaments, they must have to pay something to have a tournament?
No, they don't.
No?
Those are free.
Okay,
There's
That's
no fee.
interesting.
yeah,
Now, the organizer on the fishing tournament.
They
that's
collect
not-
money. They have a
Okay.
big pot that they,
okay.
yeah.
Cause this person was asking me about, why don't we have a boat wash? And I was explaining about the, the lifts of the land and, well, that's no good. We're gonna keep fighting this
Boat,
stuff
and
all the
just,
time.
I'll give a quick tutorial on the boat wash. It is against the state law. 320 CMR prohibits washing or flushing of any boats on the state property. So, where could it go? On town property? South ramp, no place to put one. North ramp would have to be up in the street. Very difficult. Here's the problem. that's a drop in the bucket. They're not manned 24/7, nor will they ever be manned 24/7. The ramps have to be open 24/7, 365. You can't shut them. That's again in that 320 CMR. The other problem is we've got 3 marinas that we got no say whatsoever about. And there are probably roughly a dozen at-grade entrances to Congamon scattered around the 3 ponds where you can back a boat down.
Right.
And
Now, clearly, right, if you wanted to fix everything, that would be it. Clearly, if there was a way to handle the 2 public ramps, you would get the greatest percentage. But I don't see how you do
well,
that.
and there's one more thing that I didn't get to say is if you picture a boat, most boats, pontoons, fishing boats sit on carpeted beds when they come in. You've got all that stuff trapped between the carpeted bed, which is wider than my hand.
Yeah.
And the boat, and also in the motor. It's all the
Well,
little
and
stuff
it
is in
can
the
be,
motor.
and it can be in bilge, it can be
Yeah.
in.
However, for what it's
Okay.
worth, Lake George, since I talked to these guys from time to
Lake
time.
George does it, but it is a big deal. what they do.
I don't know exactly how it's done, but they have a certain number of areas that are remote.
Yeah.
Where it is done, and it has to be either inspected or you get some kind of a
Well,
sticker
what you-
before you can still put
What,
it in.
what you have to do in Lake George, there are certain places that are approved to clean your boat. And once they do, they swage a cable that locks your boat to the trailer. When you go to launch your boat, somebody at the ramp has to cut that cable. And if that cable is not there, you are not allowed to launch.
Right.
That's how they control
They're
that.
tough.
So the launches are controlled. You can't go, so not open all the time.
Yeah.
There's gotta be somebody there. And because they chain them off, and then that somebody checks to see that you've got a swage tag and they cut it.
Because they have also had an issue with milk
Oh,
oil. They're trying
right.
to do everything they can to keep
Right,
them.
and of course, the issue, our lake is small enough that it can be treated.
Right.
Lake George, if
Oh, God.
milfoil takes off in Lake George, it's
Like treating the
untreatable.
Atlantic
It's so
Yeah.
big.
Yeah,
It's so big, you know, it's like.
It's like
you know,
Winnipesaukee.
In the Great Lakes, you know, when they've had issues, the answer is, people, why don't you treat it? You
Yeah.
can't.
yeah, it's an ocean.
You
Yeah,
can't.
Champlain's got lots of
It's,
problems.
it's too
Oh,
big.
yeah.
So that's why they've done that. So it's doable, but it's a,
Yeah,
you know,
and that's
it's a
it's
major
big bucks
deal.
too.
Yeah.
Invested.
Well, they
That-
charge big bucks for all their things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Okay, so now I can go back to this person. and tell-
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Before we adjourn,
yes.
I've asked about this now for at least a year or two.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that, especially before you retire, can you get somebody in the DPW to go down in front of the weir gates? Foot out,
Oh,
and I'm having them hit them. We really need to dig that out. So then a guy like me then, or my comrades here, can go down from the backside. And lift the gates up, clean the crap out, because we only gotta clean out a
And
foot
put 'em
now
back
going
in.
out.
Yeah, right.
And then we can bottom flush it, and we can attempt to lower the gates a little more than we
Yeah,
can
because
now.
they're not
'cause we're
hitting-
Stuck,
They're
we're
not stuck.
yeah, yeah.
and then we have a better chance at trying to get the lake where it should be, because it's ugly. I just happen to have with me tonight some pictures. And I wanna share
And the
these
answer
with you
to your
before I
question is
pack it
yes,
in.
they will do
I
that.
just
They
wanna
will do it.
share these pictures.
They have before. and they
That
will.
once upon a
I'm
time,
gonna tell you,
minutes.
I
I'm not
used to
lifting that
have
bottom gate. We'll
in
never
front
close
of
it
my,
again.
I used to
We'll
have
never close.
in front of my
I wouldn't.
retaining wall, green grass and some dirt and everything that went 3-4 feet out. Now I'm looking more like that
I
scenario,
wanna see some of these, wait a second.
you know, all
Yeah.
gone.
It's erosion.
Erosion,
Oh, yeah.
erosion. I'm
We all
down
have
now,
erosion.
looking at underneath the stone, underneath the block.
Oh, yeah.
And this thing has been there for 25 years.
Yeah.
So I never had this problem until the last couple of years, and I'm afraid the wall's gonna start to sink.
We've
So I
got a lot
got,
of that
I
are
mean,
people are replacing
and it's
walls.
all
I got
because
both
of
sides
high
of me,
water,
people bitching.
lake boats, and erosion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we
okay,
just put that
can
roof
we,
on.
can I make a motion that we adjourn?
Yeah.
I,
You think you can do that, Dick?
Wait,
get this
He
guy
said
down there
yes.
with a backhoe?
He said yes.
Dig it out,
Yes, they can do that.
please.
Okay.
They
you're
just
gonna-
gotta stay away from it like we have in the
That's
past.
fine.
I will second it.
Fine. Dig deep though, deep in.
All right, hold on a minute, so. We
He
had
made a
a,
motion.
I made a motion to adjourn.
I
I'll
second.
second
it.
I
Ten
second.
people
Capture
wanted
that.
a second.
Yeah, you
I already
already
seconded
seconded it. Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
all in favor.
Aye.
Bye.
All right, thanks.
And it is what,
8:10.
8:10.